Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukutali.
And a wonderful morning to you. This is Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. It's a wet morning, so it's damp, but this morning's program is unlikely to be anything other than full of information and perhaps hard questions. To answer these hard questions is Senior Parliamentarian Mr. Dinesh Gurawardena. Good morning to you, Mr. Dinesh.
Morning, Fahad.
And really do appreciate you coming here because you have a long way. No floods then on the way?
Floods, yeah, we had, but
You had.
we might have again.
I see.
Government is just watching for flood.
And you turned up in one of these luxury vehicles?
No luxury,
four-wheel
but
drive?
semi-luxury, not a luxury.
Whose is it? Yours or is it the official vehicle from the government?
No, I have no official vehicle from the government.
Okay. So it's
I
one
mean,
of yours?
JO, yes.
Right.
So what we have to run on is our vehicles under our expenditure.
Right. But what is the state of this country? The attacks on students, it's almost a daily business. In 2017 alone, there have been 15 CITEM-related protests. We have a Ministry of Finance that has been accused by the Auditor General of being economical with the truth in falsifying their accounts, understating the accounts. The playing of the blame game has started by trying to rubbish the professionalism of our Auditor General. The interest rates are rising, the rising cost of living, the Geneva contradictory statements, increasingly the people are taking to the streets. And what is the role of the joint opposition in all of this?
Joint opposition has been very alert, democratic action to correct the wrong measures of the government.
Like what?
Like the central bank, you just mentioned.
Yeah.
The central bank bond issue.
Yes.
I think your channels are also exposing a lot of information.
Yeah.
We are the only group that took up the issue early in Parliament, and we led the entire criticism of what happened, demanding an inquiry and removal of the governor. We took to the streets. Two of our MPs were injured, but we took to the streets. And finally, governor's reappointment didn't take place. Commission has been appointed. Government is getting badly exposed. All facts are clear.
But what about this deterioration, this breakdown in law and order?
Breakdown in law and order comes when the government is unable to deliver the promises they were given to the people, day-to-day life for the people. I mean, not only life of general citizens, but business establishments and other establishments. Running of affairs is collapsing.
But you know, the opposition, in this case where you are a member, surely that they have a greater responsibility other than merely to oppose for the sake of opposing.
No, we have been supporting and allowing, facilitating some of the bills that have come to Parliament, allocation of funds that they have asked for, but it is the role of the opposition to expose, because we have an opposition, official opposition, is part of the virtual part of the government. 16 members of the TNA, not taking issues on general where the country has been demanding. It's the JO with 52 members. Not
but again,
recognized.
even in those areas, we have a situation where the Chief Minister has played it hard and exposed some corruption, and then you know they've tried to attack him in retaliation. It's now sort of settled, but it's almost as though people are unhappy when corruption is exposed.
Correct. I think that is one of the biggest issues, because in Parliament we have exposed and questioned all this when the Finance Ministry votes came, but no action taken. We gave a vote of no confidence, not allowed by the Speaker. But now, the Auditor General, the mentioned Auditor General's report has come here. It disowned the accounts that have been submitted to him. And this is in billions.
Yes, 500 billion.
Yeah, Lanka, they say Parliament approved. We had questioned, Parliament approved. Where has the funds been paid to? Foreign payments. Where has it gone?
Yeah.
These are not small things, but I think most of the MPs are unaware.
Yeah.
And they are not being given the chance, because when the GAO exposes, we are only given just a slot of few minutes.
Yeah.
And then they try to play the trick on us by not allowing our debates. They precipitate a withdrawal from the chamber, the government.
Yeah.
And
But you know, we've got some we've got some thoughts on this. One, of course, is that the Chief Minister in the Northern Province, we need to really hail him because of his stance. I mean, he's told them, you stay aside, we're going to have a look at this thing, and that's about it. And you can't, and then that results in these fellows trying to pass a vote of no confidence on him, and in short, to threaten him. That's what it is. So you know, in those cases, we must applaud people like that, because otherwise we've got no hope at all. What's your stance on these students? Accusations that the GMOA is acting as a political party, but the bottom line is that these students who they came there on a public day, but it doesn't give them a right to cause wanton damage and destruction to our property. It is our property, as in the people's property.
I agree. They have a right to go to any public institution on Wednesdays, which is a public day.
Yeah.
And they were allowed, because you are checked and allowed to proceed into the buildings and take stay to meet the people whom we want. So obviously the officers of the institution, the health ministry, allowed them, and they were waiting. But no one there took a decision to come and meet them and discuss. Instead,
yeah, but that's frustrating. But that surely doesn't give anyone the right to break the law.
I agree. But breaking the law is not from one side. If you I don't want to analyze, but what I am trying to say is the students, when they are allowed, and then they call the security, they call the STF. Now, why should STF and security be called? And they launched a
obviously because conflict. It was starting to get out of hand, probably.
No, out of hand is after they were being pushed out. You know, you can't push out people even in this building. For us, these glasses will break, obviously.
Yeah.
And then the other demonstrators, the other students who outside had moved in. If they have done anything wrong, yes, they should be. But who are the other parties who did wrong?
But these people, these students, you know, the point is, they get free education, then they come and they qualify, and then whilst they're having the free education, they decide that it's quite all right to go and attack. And you know, they've shown a distinct lack of respect for public property, and they are protesting against people who are willing to pay for their education, and our constitution does provide for that. So we have a choice. There's a choice in life. You can either go there or you can go here. What's the problem?
I think yeah, that's a good generalization for us.
It's not
disagree. There are certain areas where then disagreement comes up.
But this thing came
500 days of the protest. Not in the students, the professors of the medical faculties, of all the medical faculties in the country.
So so shall we introduce this then? Shall we say that people who have been qualified under the free system cannot practice in the private sector? How will that work?
No, of course that can be introduced and seen. That is not the issue.
Yeah.
Issue is the education of the health, key sector
Then
of
why
the health.
was it allowed to start business and to start? Why did they allow them to get going?
In a way, it is they have violated their own certificate to start business. Saitam Paras was allowed in the technology zone as a technology institute, nothing to do with medicine. So from the beginning up to now, they have been violating all the regulations, licenses and agreements that have been reached. They have no teaching facilities for a hospital, which is an essential.
Isn't it true, Mr. Dinesh, that these small group, it is small, that they are trying to hold government to hostage, that they want the government to change the way according to their feeling, their ideology, their thoughts, their agenda. That's not going to happen. There is a wider picture. And they must first play the game whilst they are within the law. They must first respect that.
I think they are within the law. They are students of the medical faculty. 7,000 of them have been wanting discussions to resolve this. There no government is interested. No official of the government, no minister has had discussions with them. All the faculties, the heads and the deans have appealed to the government.
When our network was stoned, bombed, attacked, when Lasantha Vikramatunga was unlawfully killed, all of y'all were there. It does, whatever said and done, whatever Lasantha wrote and exposed, he didn't deserve to die. That was not, you can't take somebody's life away. Similarly, whatever your frustration, you cannot possibly go around attacking and damaging public property.
No, you can't damage public property. That is a separate issue.
These are
separate issue. Prevention is better than cure. Now, what is the issue? Issue is dragging on for months and months. No politician, no law officer can say, we did not know for the last 500 days. There was a thing like this. This is appearing every day. The GMO gave notice so many times. They are not being...
But equally, the second highest court in the country said that they need to be registered and so on. Now they've gone and appealed that.
No, that is a different thing going on appeal. Government itself rejected the decision of that court because the government went back on the decision of the court. I mean, that in the announcement, if you see...
But Mr. Dinesh, the bottom line is, what's wrong in the medical, training going private?
No,
what's wrong with that?
Whole thing for us is more than going private. The issue is, how can you have half-baked doctors in a country? This institution or any other institution cannot produce doctors against the norms laid down by the Sri Lanka Medical Council, which is the authority that has been empowered by the legislature of the country under the medical ordinance. Now, just because you are a friend of a minister or someone, you can't be promoting to have half-baked doctor. This is the whole issue, what the doctors are saying, what the students are saying. If there is no teaching hospital, you can't produce a doctor. If there are no proper...
But are you quite certain that the training is under par? Because what you're then saying, if that's the case, Mr. Dinesh, is that the court has also missed this valuable point which you are making. Is it true? Are you sure?
I stand by what I have said because I've gone through the records, the reports which were suppressed and not being properly put forward. There are the reports of medical profession, not just A, B, C or C of the students, no. Now, this is the...
But isn't it all down to politics?
No, I don't think it's politics, it's a lot of money. It's similar to central bank, a lot of money. You see, you can recognize somebody to run a technology institute. After that, you get maybe some big kick-off and you change that to a medical university.
So do you think that they got the initial approval also by paying a lot of money?
Would have, because how can a technology institution become an overnight medical institution? Just from that day.
It wasn't overnight, surely.
Yeah, it was overnight. From
because
that day.
the students have been studying for a while before they come to this.
Halfway when because they misled the BOI, you take the BOI records. We wanted to place this before Parliament yesterday. The government deprived us of
so
the debate.
I mean, the whole problem here is that whenever we bring these issues up, it's always about them and us. You ask a minister here, if you ask when Mr. Karunaka was in charge of finance, he came right here and are all set, and he said that the bond matter was not quantified.
Yeah.
And then he broke into this, it was almost a song. Oh, well, what about the bond? What about the Greek bond? So what? If they're in charge now, if the former governor of the central bank has done something, then they should prosecute him or hold him accountable, like this president is trying to do through the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into these bonds. So there's no point. Everybody goes back to the past. Oh, what happened with them? It's almost as though, because it happened before, that it lends some credibility. It doesn't, does it?
No, just because one can make an acquisition, one has to establish it. Now, in this case, it has been established that the central bank bond issue was challengeable. I mean, the doubts are very clear, and that is why the president took this step. But president has appointed a commission of inquiry which can only report.
Yeah.
You see, for us, it's different from taking action. Now then, what happens? But the country suffers in between the billions that have been virtually robbed from the state.
I'd put you on the spot.
Where is it invested? One would initially say freeze where it's invested. That is a good step.
But it's your friend, your classmate, who came to Parliament and said that he changed the way that asked them to change the way that bonds are being issued. And the Auditor General has made a very, very important statement in this past week, and that is that he reminded everybody who was willing to listen and who was listening to him that just because the Prime Minister makes a statement in Parliament, that doesn't turn out to be law.
Correct.
Right? So
I
a very important statement.
Fully agree with the Auditor General, because at least he guides.
Why didn't you bring a vote of no confidence against the Prime Minister on that matter? Is it because you're your classmate?
Not at all. I have arguments with him. I have questions posted to him. There are no issue on that. He's been my classmate. That is a different thing. But here the issue is it's at the moment under inquiry, and Prime Minister is answerable. He will have to reply to Parliament.
I want to ask you this question. I'm trying to ask you this question actually. Do you think that our media, this company media unit, do you think that we take sides with anyone, or that we stand by and stand for the truth?
I think you've been trying to stand for the truth.
Well,
there are issues. I mean, there are hundreds of issues. I don't know whether you can bring all the issues.
No, we try our best, don't we? But the other thing is, of course, you know, in the previous government, there was as much as, if not more, corruption. Let's set the level that there was corruption. What happened then? As a minister, were you able to do anything at the time?
We were, I mean, as ministers, we are in most of the issues that were within our purview, we have been able to control. There could be, I mean, as you say, there was a war, you know, we had to win the war. Certain, perhaps, allegations are made by counter forces just to degrade the government. You mentioned, and none of the ministers were there condemning La Santa's assassination. I was there. I'm the only minister who went to his house. I condemned it in front of your camera, right in the front of the house.
Yes, I know that you've done, but by and large, there's a lot of people who, for whatever reason, they were rather silent. Now then, back to this law and order situation. We have the situation. This country seems to be sliding further downhill and down this very slippery path. If you look at this clip of the attacks that happened in the last few days, you see the complete deterioration of procedure, of law and order, complete, absolute
breakdown.
Absolutely.
And the breakdown of law and order continues. Why? The government of the day must respect then laid down laws of the land, irrespective of whom it hurts. This is the biggest issue today. A government is unstable. Sorry to say, that is my point of view, and I have independent point of view of various political analysts. That's why they had to change the cabinet, reshuffle. I mean, halfway this government has reshuffled the main areas of the cabinet. Will it make a difference? No. Secondly, the government is a coalition, and each party of the coalition is having... We could argue that in the previous government there was no need to allocate these subjects, because Mr. Basil Rajapaksa had so many subjects under him that it was, and the Rajapaksas, we were told at one stage, controlled 70% of the budget through various means. But let's look at this clip because it shows the level to which the law and order situation is going down. It's going down the pan. So here we go. Control room is about to play this clip.
The Central Working Committee decided to extend the strike action, which was launched at 8 AM today. If the officials believe that they can stop this fight by assaulting the students, then they are mistaken. This is just the beginning. The battle will only intensify from this point. The government must reach a decision. We are prepared to hold discussions on the proposals that we have submitted at any given time. The executive committee will convene on a daily basis at 8 AM every day. The doctors don't have a problem with the patients. They should resolve their issues with the government. In the evenings, these doctors will go and check private patients. If they treat 10 people, they can earn around 15,000 or 20,000.
පුදුම දෙයක් මට නම් තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ මේ මොනවා කරන මේ රටක්ද කියලා. මේ ආයුෂක මිනිස්සු මැරෙනවනේ දැන් ඒත් නැතුව.
පාමිටි හිරුවන් අපිට සල්ලි නෑ තාත්තපා. ඉතින් මෙතෙන් දෙන්නේ මේ ටික තමයි තියෙන්නේ අපිට.
This is a situation that patients had to face at the General Hospital in Colombo and other hospitals around the country.
Look at the level of suffering, Mr. Dinesh. It's absolutely appalling. That chap there who was on there, he said he doesn't understand. He said Pudumurata, and he's ill, and he doesn't need this sort of thing.
Correct.
And so why is this all happening? Is it politics? What role is your joint opposition playing in this?
We are demanding the government to negotiate with the GMO.
Have you already had discussions with these to destabilize?
No, we have had no discussions to destabilize any situation in the country. We only stand up for the correct issues that has to be addressed and solved. Government for the last 48 hours for us is not talking to the GMO. Why? Can politicians treat these patients? No. It is only the doctors, the medical profession that can treat. They have said we will treat emergency cases, dengue, but talk to us. We have something to say. Please, President, please, Prime Minister. Now, can we say in a democracy where you are expected to discuss even with the opponent? We were talking even to the LTT. I mean, this is not the LTT. They are not taken arms. Why can't you talk to them?
The people will start surrounding the doctors and put the fear of God into them and get them to perform.
At the rate we are going, people will surround the Prime Minister and the President and tell enough. If you can't rule, if you can't manage the economy, if you can't run your own government, it is better for you to dissolve Parliament. You see, what I am trying to say is they must sit and talk. Now even they don't want even to talk to the opposition in Parliament. They deprived us of our debate yesterday by withdrawing the speakers. Now that itself shows they can't face this issue. Take for instance, you mentioned about the breakdown of the law and order.
Yeah.
Justice Minister condemned the statement of the international rapporteur from Geneva and rejected and very clearly said these are all for foreign money. Now he rejects the entirety of the report and says our judiciary cannot be interfered by foreign people.
So where is the
I mean, we and the opposition said this 6 months ago, 12 months ago, not to do this. Then we told the government, ourselves we wrote to the President, don't get caught in this situation where everything will collapse. Now the Justice Minister has opened his mouth and said, yes, we will not listen to this report. Where does the Prime Minister stand? Where does the former Minister of Foreign Affairs stand? The present Foreign Affairs Minister?
He's selling lottery tickets.
Yeah, he is entrusted with lottery.
But that's illegal. And there's another matter that's coming up which will be highlighted, and that is the way certain ministers are trying to accumulate power. I'm referring to the Ministry of Finance and the proposed foreign exchange bill. If you watch the news, and if you watch our network, you'll get those details will be coming out later on. But there is this unholy, uncouth actually attempt to accumulate power, and the people are expected to stand by. How long before the people flip? How long before the people say enough is enough? What do you think?
All from even in the north, people are saying enough, and I agree with what you said. Chief Minister took a step after he appointed an inquiry, and he has to restore. Down south here, and no action is being taken. People are on the streets day by day, protest. Entire country is wanting, including the UNP, grassroots level wants local elections. They are promising elections, not holding. As a result, the Colombo municipality says, we alone can't manage the garbage issue. What more? City of Colombo, the capital of the
I think it would be very appropriate if we finished off this program with what Lassit Malinga, that wonderful cricketer of ours, said, that there's a whole lot of monkey business going on. Well, he didn't quite say that, but that's what it is. That's what he meant. That there's a lot of monkey business going on. So it is a lot of monkey business. It's also very fishy business. And in the meantime, guess what? The suffering of the people continues.
Increases.
And it increases.
Let us try to stop that first, suffering.
Well, good luck with your efforts. We are always there because we are for the people. Mr. Dinesh Gunawardena, in your attempts to try and alleviate the problems of the suffering of the people, we will be there. We will be there to back you in your efforts. And next week or in a few days' time, we shall be launching the government program, another phase of the government program, because we've recognized that the people, and we've identified that the people, there's a whole lot of suffering going on out there, and we, as a private media house, along with the general public and other corporates and so on, people who care, are trying to do our bit.
If I could intervene, JO would extend our appreciation for the role you all played.
We love the appreciation, but we also want you, we would like to see action, because the people want delivery. They want delivery. On that note, but we really do appreciate you coming here all this way. and for being here and for sharing your thoughts and so on. Thank you, Dinesh Gunawardena, for being on Newsline.
Thank you, Father.
And that's it we'll get the date right. Today, Friday, June 23rd, 2017 from Newsline. Take care. God bless.